Good morning, Wrigley.
Wrigley said good morning to everybody. Yeah. You want some coffee too?
I definitely need the coffee this morning.
Yeah.
Well, let's get started here. We're right over 10 o'clock and having your coffee with me this morning. I appreciate you joining me. Gonna try to make it look like I'm looking at you. This is always fun. While I really enjoy your company in person, I'm glad that we can at least do this together. So I appreciate it. I also am excited to talk to you today, both as a patient and a professional, and have the opportunity to talk a little bit about our health at home and what we're doing, and things that we can do to try to make it a little better. And things we talked about this week were a little helpful, and I still have that nice support behind my back at my chair. So I thought we could talk about some of that stuff today. So let's take a second to introduce ourselves. And I'm Christina, and I'm with the Arthritis Foundation. I'm the Senior Development Director here in the Charlotte area. And Lisa, I'd love you to take a second to introduce yourself both as a patient and a professional, and let everybody know how we got started and working together as a volunteer.
Okay. Well, this is Wrigley, who probably won't be here the whole time. This is my youngest of 3 bird children. And he likes to pop on Zoom every once in a while. I am Lisa Grant. I am a physical therapist, athletic trainer, strength and conditioning specialist. But my main job is a professor at Wingate University in the Doctorate Physical Therapy program. Ironically, I'm also a patient with osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, and got into physical therapy because of injuries while I was playing sports. A lot of people these days don't even really realize it, but I was a 4-sport athlete in high school, and actually was a Division I athlete for a short period of time, along with playing some club sports. But by the time I entered college, had already had a couple surgeries and injuries, one big surgery by the time I entered undergrad, and worked with a great physical therapist who was involved with sports, and then an athletic trainer. And really, when I entered undergrad, I was one of the rare few that graduated with the same degree I came in with, which was athletic training, and then worked for probably like 7 years as a licensed physical therapist, and then got asked to do a guest lecture in my undergrad alma mater, and then started adjunct teaching, and very soon kind of got the itch and the kind of got into the whole teaching gig, and then quickly kind of set my focus on being a full-time professor. And for the last, it'll be 5 years this summer, I've been at Wingate full-time, and I think it's probably been about 3-4 years ago that 2 of my students had known you and were involved, and one of them has juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, and kind of asked me to be their faculty mentor at the Walk to Cure Arthritis, and kind of be their supervisor. And I went and met you and quickly caught the bug of volunteering and service. So Kat Rand and AJ, thank you for making the connection. They're both now licensed physical therapists and kicking butt in the real world.
It's exciting to see how all the connections came together, and we had the opportunity to meet each other. And since then, you've been a catalyst of making sure that the Wingate Department of Physical Therapy stays with us and volunteering and staying engaged as the students graduate. And we can't thank you enough for making sure that you continue to spread the word and allow your students to learn how important the foundation can be in their lives as they continue as professionals. So we appreciate that. But today I thought it would be nice to talk a little bit about some obviously physical therapy has made a big impact on your life, and daily we've talked about how you do have some routines and things that are helpful, and I've even reached out for some tips and tricks on how to deal with the pain I'm dealing with on my desk and sitting here with my back and neck. And so I thought we'd talk about that a little bit today, and what you're doing to stay at home, and how you can use your knowledge as a physical therapist to make sure that you are keeping a daily routine, and some tips and tricks that we can think about for those aches and pains that we're having from sitting at our desks for a little too long these days. So let's start with that. I know physical therapy is a huge benefit, but I wanted you to kind of give our audience a little taste of how important physical therapy is, and what it can do for you.
Yeah, I mean, we've all had to pivot, and I think it's just so funny, the words and terms that have really come out of this pandemic. And there have been some very big silver linings, and I've talked about this with several people, that telehealth, and just kind of the online access that we have has really been spotlighted during this. But even for us as healthcare professionals and educators, we've had to pivot and kind of change our way of normalcy. And so we've been teaching online for the past 7 weeks now. And I'm lucky enough that me and one of my coworkers, in our normal office, we have transitional desks that's on top of our normal desk, so they can go from a sitting desk to a standing desk. But I quickly realized, kind of in the first 2 weeks, that sitting at a normal dining room chair was not good for my body, and didn't have the proper support. So light bulb moment, hey, I've got a desk chair that's at the other end of the house that I could roll over to the coffee table. And it is kind of funny that I have a home office, but I've been in the dining room just because more access to my dogs, who are now wrestling in the background, and easy access to the outside. I can step outside within a matter of 3 steps, which has been a beautiful silver lining. But being able to bring my office chair, and then even then just kind of sitting back with a laptop that's not the best setup, I was able to grab my throw pillow from the couch to give me a little bit of extra support. And then, my neck started bothering me because I'm looking down at a laptop. So I have a couple options there. Right now, I've taken a couple textbooks, and my laptop is actually on some textbooks to be able to bring it more up to eye level. But something a couple of people have seen that I've used is, there's a couple times that, I'm just tired of sitting. So I take my laptop over to the kitchen island, and I have this nice little kind of transitional
That's
2
neat.
pieces of woods that you can kind of plop in your backpack. And I've had this for several years, and that's called an X stand. And it's actually locally made up in Lake Norman area, Davidson area. So, there's some easy kind of things that you can modify to be able to make working at home a little bit more comfortable. Even as much as like getting up every hour for a couple minutes just to walk around, or kind of.
I was going to ask you that. So I started with the putting the thing up. So I took some of your tips, and I have my pillow behind my back, which is helping with my lower back. And then today I started with putting the thing up. I don't know if you can't see, but it's higher than, and you're absolutely right that my neck and between my shoulders is not hurting. So I've done that. So now, how often should I be getting out of my chair? Because that's probably one of the worst things that I do, is sit in this chair for hours at a time. What do you typically do, and how often do you get up and stretch? And
I mean, like I said, usually about once an hour, just kind of get up for a couple of minutes, kind of walk around. Even as faculty in our normally daily routine, when our students are sitting at the desk, most of us, if we have a longer lecture, we try to give them a 10-minute break every hour, just so that they can get up and move around. But at home, it's even that much more important, just because we don't have the best ergonomic setups at home. So you know, using your kitchen island is a great opportunity just because it's higher and it's easier to prop it up. You're standing. And as long as you kind of weight shift or kind of move around, that's going to help things to not get so stiff. And then I didn't answer one of your original questions, which was, what do I do on a daily basis? Which I do. I am well known on my side of the neighborhood that I walk the dogs usually once a day. Now that we've been home and the weather's been nice, I actually walk twice a day. And they're not long walks because I've got a bad knee, but we go for, a walk at least twice a day, kind of move around. And then I've got a yoga mat and a foam roller in the living room because then it's visual kind of reminder for me every day to get down, do some stretches, kind of work out my back because back gets stiff, neck gets stiff. So, doing a little bit every day can make a big difference.
That's what I was going to ask, is what your priority spots are when you're doing your daily stretches, and where you try to target. And neck and back is typically mine too. And
yeah,
so I was curious about that because we've talked a little bit about different ways that I can incorporate some stretches into mine, my daily day. And I appreciate those tips and tricks, because even simple things like, you don't realize how bad your hips can hurt from sitting at the chair. Never thought my hips would hurt. But they do. And just those little stretches that we talked about, and pulling those certain areas, very, very helpful. And I appreciate that. And as we're all working from home, we're all looking for different tips and tricks to make this a little easier on ourselves. So, do you have any recommendation? We talked a little bit about the pillows and things like that. Do you have any recommendations on things that we use around the house? The pillow wasn't working out for me, and you mentioned something else, and I thought that was such a simple thing, and I never even thought of it. Do you want to mention the towels and devices and help us out there?
Yeah, so we, not everybody's towel or pillow is the perfect size for them, and everybody's built differently. And my students hear that from me all the time, that, there's not one normal, kind of make of human, that everybody's unique and different. So if you take a beach towel or even a bigger bath towel, kind of fold it to about yay wide, and then kind of roll it up, you can kind of stick it right back in the small of your back. And then even if you have, a dog leash or something that you can wrap it around the chair and kind of hold it in place, there's nice lumbar rolls that, will cost you $30-$40 online. But if you take a beach towel or a bath towel, you can make it at home. Same thing, you could take a bath towel, kind of roll it up to a smaller roll and put it inside your pillow to help your neck at night if you sleep on your side. And then even, this isn't necessarily something you can make at home, but a little gel pad for your keyboard, so that, if you're
talking about the hands
reaching or like this, a lot of us are kind of reaching forward. So getting, just like a little gel pad, or, you could even take a towel from the kitchen and kind of use it just to give your wrists a little bit of support as you're typing at the computer all day.
But I wasn't even thinking about that, and it was a good point that you made, because I was complaining of my hands hurting, and I didn't think of the wrist causing my hand to hurt. So I was trying to figure out how to fix this, and when you made that recommendation, and I'm now using it, I'm like, oh, so simple sometimes. But sometimes we need to be told these things, and that's why I appreciate you having some coffee with me this morning and joining us. If you're sorry.
Even, if you're somebody like me who walks your dogs, switching up the shoes you wear when you go for walks, just because if you use the same pair of shoes every day, they're going to start to wear out. And just kind of having shoes that are built up a little bit more, have a little bit more cushion than the ones that you continually use and wear down, can make a big difference.
That's a good point. So I might be calling you up next to help me shop for some shoes, because I've been using the same shoes for probably too long now. So that's a good point. I never really really thought of that much. I'm gonna make sure we don't have any questions here before we move on. Oh, we don't want to hear ourselves talking. Hold on one second. I'm gonna make sure that sounds good. Good morning. Everybody's just saying good morning to us. All right. So, cheers to our coffee. I unfortunately didn't have my AF coffee cup today because my husband stole it. So, stuck with the kids' coffee cup today. So we just wanted to spend a little bit of time together this morning talking about how we can keep moving, some tips and tricks of being stuck at working at home. And I know I found them beneficial the last few days, and they're helping with the pain that I've been in, and I appreciate that. And hopefully some of our viewers will appreciate some of the tips and tricks too. And if they have any questions and we end up with multiple questions that we don't answer, I'll make sure to shoot them off to you, and we'll get some answers in our follow-up emails. So right now, I think our message today and has been for the week, and in this fitness week where we're keeping moving and talking about how we're doing our fitness at home and working from home, and that our message here is to keep moving. And that's one of the most important things that you've taught me. And even talking about your walks with the dogs and the stretches in the mornings, and getting up every hour to stretch your body and just move. That is the key message that I've taken from this week. And I appreciate your time in making sure that we continue to spread that message, that we need to keep moving, and we need to make sure, especially right now, that we're moving our bodies and we're not causing any further damage, and keeping ourselves healthy.
Yeah.
Do you have any final messages and info or anything you would like to share?
No, I mean, I think even for me at work, it's very easy. Our offices are on the second floor, so we get in there and just kind of dive in, and there's always stuff going on, and people popping by. But for being at home, like, my biggest silver lining is that I have been getting up more, because the dogs will see other dogs, the neighbors, and they want to go outside, or Wrigley brings a toy over, and so it has kind of helped me to get up more. And I've been working longer days at the computer because we've had to pivot and kind of change our curriculum and our teaching methods. But it has been nice to be able to go for a midday walk or a lunchtime walk, and get 2 walks in a day with the dogs. So, even though there's a pandemic going on, and it's not a perfect world, and we've all had to kind of change our work styles and our work methods, there are silver linings in this. And for the PT community, the telehealth kind of being pushed, and medical world as a whole being pushed to the front, kind of forcing insurance providers to approve it. There's a dog that wants to go.
Fun of working at home.
Yeah. I think it's been nice to kind of see insurance providers and physicians see the benefit in telehealth.
That is good. Well, it sounds like you're about ready to get moving and get those dogs out for their walk. And I just want to say thanks again for joining me and giving me your time this morning, having a little cup of coffee with me. Can't wait to see you again in person. But I really appreciate your time this morning, and thank you.
Yeah, and everybody go register for the virtual walk in a couple weeks here. So if anybody wants to join my team, Team Wingate DPT,
yep,
or make a small donation, because every dollar helps, we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, join the walk at walktoyourarthritis.org and keep moving with us. And we'll see you soon.
Yep. See you.